Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Dev Marketer channel. I've got a special video for you guys today that I'm really actually quite excited about. And we're going to be doing a first impressions video. Now I know some of you guys might think this is stupid, but I think a lot of you guys will enjoy it. I'm excited to see what you guys think about it. But basically, a couple months ago, Adobe came out with a brand new application. It's called Adobe XD. And Adobe XD is a competitor to Sketch. It's basically a user experience and user interface development tool, okay? It's a way for user interface designers or even just web people like me and you guys, the fellow dev marketers that they have to kind of do it all. It's a way for us to basically create websites, mock them up before we actually go and code them and be able to present them to clients and stuff like that and make sure we get the look of it correct before we waste all the time coding a website that doesn't look right, okay? And so there's a lot of tools out there that basically do the same thing. We've got, obviously people use Photoshop. That's what I've used for many, many years. Another popular one is called Sketch. And Adobe now has thrown their hat into the ring and created a special application called Adobe XD that is supposed to basically solve all of our problems and make the whole experience of creating a user interface just perfect, okay? Now, I've never used this application, and that's what today's first impression is all about. We're actually I've gone ahead and downloaded it. We're going to dive into it and try to create an application. And I want you guys to know that you're going to be learning alongside me. I've never used this tool before. I want to literally give you guys my first impressions. If you guys are interested in learning more, just let me know in the comments. We'll do some series to basically follow up and learn more about Adobe XD if it's something that interests you. Otherwise, we can just leave it at the first impressions. But I want you guys to know going forward that with this, I've never opened this application before ever, and these are literally my first raw impressions, okay? Let's go ahead and dive into this. Now, before we open it, I just want to go ahead to the website and take a look at what some of the stuff is, what some of the features before we actually use it. We'll go through that together, and then we'll open up the application. Okay, so for those of you guys that don't know, again, I've used Photoshop as my, the way I mock up websites and create website designs for forever. I've always used Photoshop. Well, the problem with Photoshop is I don't want to get into all the details of it, but basically Photoshop isn't perfectly suited for it, but it's a pretty good tool. It works pretty good for it, but it does lack in some areas. The first thing is it's designed to edit photographs. It's not designed to work with web interfaces. It just wasn't designed for that. It was made as a photo editor. Okay, and so it lacks some areas like that. It doesn't have some of the tools that you want in a interface creator. But it works. It's worked for a long time. Well, several years ago, I think 3 or 4 years ago, a little startup came through and created an application that basically took some of the great things about Photoshop, but then gave it some new features designed strictly around working with user interfaces. And that program was called Sketch, okay? So some of you guys might be familiar with this. And I've actually owned a copy of Sketch. So I do have Sketch right here on my computer. I do own Sketch, and I have used it before, and it does work really, really well. There's a lot of just nice features with Sketch that make it so much easier to work with interfaces. The whole concept is that Sketch was actually built for web designers. So there's a lot of tools in there like margin and padding and stuff that are built into the tool and just make it easier to work with, because these are tools that we work with when we actually go to the code, versus Photoshop where you just have this big wide open canvas and you've got to tailor everything specifically for your needs. And so it's like working with a blank canvas and just a raw like paintbrush or something, versus and we're trying to make blueprints with those. So yeah, you can make it work, but it's kind of ghetto. Whereas, Sketch came along, they gave us the tools, the rulers, the protractors, all the tools we need to really do the job correctly, even though we're doing it on the same canvas, if that makes sense. That's kind of where Sketch came through. Well, Sketch has been taking tons of market share away from Photoshop, I think. And so Adobe responded to that by now creating a competitor for Sketch, something that now everyone that used to use Photoshop can now dive into Adobe XD, their new competitor product, that it has the tools that Sketch brought to the table and also brings some of its own new tools to the table that I'm really, really excited about, okay? So again, my friend told me about Adobe XD. I wanted to do a first impressions videos about a month ago when I first heard about it, and I just didn't get around to it. And now I've got some time that I finally downloaded it, and I've been waiting to use it until I could get in front of the camera and do it alongside you guys. Okay, so anyway, this is Sketch. This is the current competitor. I'm gonna go ahead and not worry about that right now. Let's take a look at what Adobe XD has. So this is the website. I just pulled it up before I got here. You can see here, you design, prototype, share, all in one application. Again, my friends told me a little bit about this, but I haven't really researched it. So built from scratch, built for you. We're building XD from the ground up to address the complex needs of today's UX designers. I love this, that we're actually using, it's a tool built specifically for user experience designers, UI designers, UX designers. Innovative tools to eliminate speed bumps and deliver breakthrough performance on everything from wireframes to high fidelity designs to interactive prototypes. So I'm just so excited about this, guys. One thing that I've heard that Adobe XD can do is interactive prototypes. And I was looking, so I haven't tried this yet, but apparently it's very similar to InVision. There's a program out there called InVision, and InVision allows you to basically take a bunch of screenshots and you can line them up, and then you can like create hot areas like over where a button would be on the screenshot. So basically when you click the button, it loads up a different screen, and you can kind of create like a fake interface that you can give to clients to kind of prototype the application. So you can kind of show them, like, let's say we're working on a web page, you can have a screenshot for your home page, a screenshot for your about page, and a screenshot for your contact page. And then over the navigation, you can create hot elements. So when they click about, it loads up the about page screen, which kind of creates this sort of interactive element without you having to code yet, which is really nice because you can then take that to your clients and you can say, hey, what do you think of the design? And they can click around and say, oh, change this, and that you can do all of it with Adobe XD or Sketch instead of needing to go back and recode something. And it's a better time to address those kind of issues. And then once everything is figured out and you've got your project in scope, then you can go through and code it exactly as it's on the design, okay? So this is actually a really critical step when you're designing a website. It's really important to go through this process. And so I'm really excited what Adobe XD can do to it. And apparently, in the past, you always had to use this other tool called InVision, which allowed you exported your screenshots to this application, and that's the one that you made the interactive elements from. And InVision costs like, $50 to $100 a month. It's InVision app. It's okay. So this is the app. Oh, I shouldn't have clicked their ad. I feel bad about that. Oh well. Okay, so this is the app, InVision app. You guys can take a look at it, but it does. They have pricing. Anyway, it does cost money. Pretty sure. Maybe it doesn't anymore. I'm sure they have a free plan. I know it costs money. It looks like there is a free plan. I don't know. I don't want to get into it right now. But anyway, you always have to use that other tool. You don't have to anymore. That's really cool. Design at the speed of thought. Draw, reuse, remix, vector, and raster artwork to create wireframes, screen layouts, interactive prototypes, and production-ready assets all in the same app. That's so awesome that we can do all this stuff in one app. I love that it combines raster and vector together, which is cool because when you design your screens, you're designing based on a fixed pixel amount. So like an iPhone is like 320 by 640. And so that's your screen, you know what I mean? Like you've got fixed number of pixels, but when you create elements, you want them to be vector so that if you're working with Retina or you want to move to Android that has a bigger screen or something like that, you're not going to have to rebuild your assets because they're vector, but you're still able to work in raster. So it's like the best of both worlds, and I love that. I'm really excited to play around with that. And that's something you don't get with Photoshop right now. We can create wireframes, blah, blah. That's really cool. Power Up Your Prototypes. This is the InVision stuff. Like here you can create like I guess like a hotbox. And then you can even create transitions and stuff, I guess, which is cool. Easing. That's going to be nice. And then you can tell it where to go, which is going to be cool. We'll play around with that. Preview the whole experience. Eliminate guesswork by previewing your designs in real time, complete with transitions. Make changes and see them immediately on your phone and tablet so your experience looks the same way you want it. That's going to be cool. So if I understand this correctly, there's apps for Android and Apple and iPhone or iOS or whatever, and you can actually preview these on devices, which is going to be cool. It says live. It says immediately applied live. So I don't know. We'll have to play with that. I don't know how that's going to play out. That looks really cool. Work together, work faster. Again, this looks really similar to InVision where you can have people comment. I love that design, by the way. That's really nice. Okay, cool. Let's see. I'm not going to watch the video. I first used Adobe XD to design Airbnb building owner's website. The tool is fast, easy to use, and great spacing indicators that make me feel confident creating pixel-perfect designs. So spacing indicators to me sounds like, again, those margin and padding helpers that I said are really, really useful. Sounds like we're still going to have those. Let's see, everything you need to quickly, okay, that's cool. See what's new. The repeat grid, select any element and replicate it horizontally or vertical as many times as you want. All the styles and spacing stay intact, and any changes you make replicate as well. This is going to be cool. Okay, so I'm interested to see how this plays out. So what this is kind of similar to something Sketch has, but I think it's a little bit better. It looks like you can have different images in all of these, which if you can, this will be awesome. For those of you guys who don't know what this is what they're calling the repeat grid. It allows us to, you know, like when you're creating a design sometimes and you're creating maybe a blog page, you create the excerpt for the blog, which has like the preview image, the title, and then the body, and then like a read more button. And then you do that same code block over and over and maybe 10 times on the page. Well, you only write it once, then you loop through it. You can do kind of the same thing here from what I understand, where you can say, you create one design and you can just repeat it either horizontally or vertically. And from what I understand, it's sort of dynamic where you can actually then customize individual images. Whereas in Sketch, they have to be exactly the same because they have this thing called symbols and they're exactly the same. So it'll be interesting to play out how that works. Oh, there's buttons for different things. Next generation layers. Okay, nice. It only shows you the layers with the artboard you're working on. That's nice. That's an improvement over Sketch. I like that. Reimagine symbols. Reuse symbols by simple double clicking. Okay, cool. Comment. We already looked at that. And then back to that. Okay, cool. New insights. That's it. Okay, so that's the kind of overview. Let's go ahead and dive into it. Let's try it out. So for those of you guys that don't know, I have an Adobe Creative Cloud subscription, which is really, really nice. I'm not sponsored by Adobe or anything, although, wink, wink, Adobe, if you want to sponsor me, I would love to do it. I think Adobe's great. They have some great applications. They've really been listening to developers lately. And so they're an incredible company. But I'm not sponsored by them right now. So anyway, with Adobe Creative Cloud, in addition to all sorts of other cool stuff that you get like Typekit, which is like a premium version of Google Fonts. You get like Creative Cloud Drive or whatever it's called, where I love using that. You get a bunch of space in the cloud to store all your artwork and you can share it with people. And then you get access to all the applications. So you can see here I've downloaded a bunch. And on my Windows computer, I have Adobe Premiere and Audition and other ones. But anyway, so I've downloaded Experience Design. So let's go ahead and just open this up real quick and take a look at it. Oops. Let's see here. I lost it. Oh, okay, sweet. There's a little preview video. Is there audio? Oh, there is. Let's watch it. I don't know if Adobe, I'm going to talk over this a little bit. In fact, let's lower the volume. Let's just watch it real quick. Oh, that looks so cool. So this is kind of like the repeat grid that it looks like. So I'm going to talk over this just because I don't want Adobe to flag it for... you can flag it if the audio is just too in sync. So I got to kind of mess up the audio by talking over it. So those are the transitions, it looks like. And then you can share. That's going to be similar to the InVision app. You get a link, and then it looks like you're going to share it to your friends. She clicks the link. She can see it. Dude, that's pretty cool. If it really is that smooth, it's going to be awesome. Okay, cool. Sorry, I didn't want Adobe to flag it as some sort of copyright material. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Let's design an app. So what we're going to do is we're going to redesign my homepage, okay? Because I need to do it anyway, so I kind of want to, that's what we're going to do today. Start with an in-app tutorial. Should we just do the in-app tutorial? Let's do that first, and then we'll come back. Begin tutorial. Should we go bigger? Let's not go too big. I'm not going to go too big because I want you guys to be able to see everything. All right, so navigate. You're going to do 2-finger pinch on trackpad or control plus or minus. Okay, to pan, use the trackpad or press spacebar. Easy enough. That's similar to Photoshop. So you hold spacebar and you can move around like that. or the trackpad, or you can pinch and zoom. So if I pinch and zoom, okay, there we go. Okay, so that's what you can do. So you can pinch zoom or control plus like that or minus. Okay, easy enough. That's very similar to Photoshop. And then you use the space bar to pan around and then you get it. Okay, easy enough. Okay, cool. So zoom in to start. So you got this. Let's see, how does this work? Prototype. Oh, that's for the, okay, so this is like their logo. Oh, transparency. There's the repeat grid button. Okay. Why can't I touch some of these? It's locked. Oh, now you can touch it. Interesting. Okay. Then we have one, preview your design. Click the play button top right, opens a desktop preview window. It's interactive, so click around. Create a splash screen. Select the artboard tool, which is this one. Click inside the box to the right. You've made an artboard. Switch back to the tool selection, drag around, drag and position the blue Camp Vibes logo on the left onto the artboard. Oh, see, I was messing it up earlier. I was getting in and they left that part unlocked and I fucked it up. Okay. Double click the artboard using the fill tool and choose the background color. So let's do all this. So they want us to create a artboard here. So this is the artboard tool. This is similar to Illustrator has artboard tools. Now Photoshop actually has artboard tools too, the new version of Photoshop. I guess it's had it for a while. They put a lot more emphasis on it lately. So an artboard is like a screen, okay? So like you can have, this is like a canvas with like all your stuff, and then artboards are like a fixed barrier, and that's gonna be like a screen area. Okay, so you click that, and then it says it wants us to move back to the selection tool, and then grab this. So let's zoom out a little bit. Let's grab this logo. Oops, I should have locked it. How do you lock it? Let's lock that up again. Okay, now we're gonna drag this over here. Okay. It's a splash screen, so we'll just put that in the middle. Drag and reposition the blue Camp Vibes. Okay, double click the artboard. Use the fill tool on the right panel to choose a background color. So we click this artboard. Okay, and then get this on the side. Here's your fill color. So let's change it to let's see, how do you get, my question is how you could get a eyedropper, but I don't see that right now. Oh, here's the eyedropper over here. Let's just grab the color of this. So it's interesting there. You saw how it's actually rasterized, even though it seems to be fixed. You saw there were like pixel dimensions. Okay, hold on. Let's get this back. I wanted to get that main color, and then we're going to just go over and go lighter. Like super, well, let's go super light, like that. Like, okay, that's what I want to do. Okay, cool. So that's nice. So what else do you get here? We click this. Scrolling, appearance, what's this grid? Oh, that's like okay. Cool. Pretty basic stuff. All right. Number 3, pick a profile image. Drag and drop any image from your computer to the gray circle area on the home artboard on the left. Okay, so it looks like it accepts drag and drop, which is interesting. I don't know if I have an image right offhand here. Let me go to my Twitter profile. You guys can reach out to me on Twitter if you want. Here I am. Let's grab this, move it here, and then we'll drag it over here like it says. Okay, cool. Nice. Brings it in. Seems pretty nice. We click this, and you can see whatever you click on, and basically the panel on the right seems to dictate what you do. Okay, nice. This is a really nice design, by the way. I like this. Our blog, welcome to Camp Vibes, sweet. The image automatically masks into shapes. So there's some sort of masking going on here. My question is, how do I mask it myself? We'll have to learn how to do that at some point. I don't see any sort of masking tools. Huh. Very cool, though. Extend blog post list. Select the grouped rectangle under the latest adventures and repeat grid. Okay, so this is going to be the repeat grid like we talked about. So we click this, and then the repeat grid button's up here. We click it, and then we drag the handle down to make the list. So we click it. There we go. And you can see here as I select it, see how there's like 20 pixels of margin? All right, we move it down like that. And I'm curious how you adjust that margin. There's still a lot of questions I've got. I've got a lot of questions, but it seems to work. Okay, we got that. We could add another more if you go that direction. That's good to know. Multiple images pro tip. Select multiple images from your computer, drag them together onto one of the images in the repeat grid. The grid will update with all of your images. Let's just try that. So they're all up to date. That's interesting. How do you get individual ones? I can do then individual ones. Okay, that's interesting. Good to know. Okay, so that individual ones, that's interesting. Let's find this grid. Where's that? There it is. Okay. Interesting how it works. Okay, cool. It's just kind of playing around with it, seeing how it works. We'll have to try with that a little more. That seems kind of cool. Number 5, let it scroll. Select the gear artboard by clicking on the artboard name. Oh, up here. Okay. Select the vertical from the scroll down. So here's our scrolling vertical. Pull down the right circle to make a longer screen that will scroll. That's interesting. I wonder how that works. So it's saying this dotted line must be the bottom of the artboard, technically, but then this is still scrollable. Oh, we want to go lower. We got to click this gear thing again. Gear, and then go lower like that. Make it interactive. Switch to prototype mode by clicking prototype at the top left. Okay, up there. Select the blue next article button on the bottom of the gear artboard, blah, blah. Okay, cool. Next, now wire the adventure artboards button to the gear artboard. Okay, so this is what we want to do. So we got to go to prototype, and then we want to move, oops. Oh, we got to use this arrow to go up to here. You can ease out, you can change the duration, the transition. The target is adventure because that's this right here. And then we can do this arrow and we can have this go back to here like that. Okay, now we can go back to the desktop preview window and see your work in action. So now let's click plus. Okay, cool. Here's our thing. Oh, that's cool. This one's not scrollable though. Wait, how do you scroll from... Let's click this. Now click plus. Oh, there we go. Now we can scroll. So that's scrollable. That's cool. I haven't seen that with... I don't even know if InVision does that. Don't mark my words. They might. But I don't think they do. Where you can scroll. This feels very interactive. And then you click next article. It takes you here. Then we made that back arrow work and it takes you back over there. And I think if you wanted now... Let's go to here, click this, and now let's slide, let's see, push left, I think. And then this one, push right. Okay, let's try this again. Just to change the, okay, so now when we click next article, oh, we've got to go the opposite directions. Okay, let's do the opposite. And then that would be a very natural transition. That's pretty cool. Why is this not working? Okay, so we click that. Bam. Bam. That's so cool. Okay, cool. Oh, it looks like there was a record button. There's a record button. Oh, you can record your... Okay. Back. Stop. Oh, and you can save it. Let's save this to our desktop real quick. Testing. Oh, and it created a movie. Let's click this to preview it. Oh, it's nice. Dude, that is so cool. You guys, you can make movies with this. That is so cool. For like testing, and imagine giving that to a client. That's awesome. Okay, so we got that. That's cool. 7. Now go back to the desktop preview mode to see your arc and auction. We already did all this. Okay, cool. Nice job. We made our first app. So there we go. That was our test. So those are kind of the first impressions. So I think now we can go through and we can actually build an application. So let's try to actually build an application from scratch. Hopefully you guys are still enjoying this. If you are, what we're going to do now is just build like a homepage real quick for my personal blog. We're not going to go into too much detail. I just want to just start playing around, and that's it. We're not going to go into too much detail on it. Okay, so let's go ahead and try that. All right, so now what we want to do is I've actually decided, I think instead of my personal website, we're actually going to design a small little app that I actually need to make for work, and that I was going to do for the Vue.js tutorial. It's going to be kind of our final project for Vue.js. And so I thought maybe I'd just play around with that instead of maybe my personal website. So for this, it's going to technically be a website. However, it's mainly going to be used on the phone. So I'm going to go ahead and just use the phone design. But you can see down here at the bottom, it looks like you can pick different designs. You can obviously do custom sizes. And, well, let's go ahead and just do web. So we'll do web 920p, 1080 by 920. So here we go. This is the web. And let's go ahead and make this a little bigger. It's a nice design. I do like this. Let's go ahead and make another artboard. So we'll do the web. And then let's do a, let's see, how do we make the size? Here's the size over here. So let's do, what's an iPhone? Oh, here's an iPhone. They got presets. Nice. Let's just do an iPhone 6, 7. Okay, let's go ahead and, oh, we got multiple of those. Delete that. Oh, you need the clicker. Okay, don't use the artboard. It makes those. Okay, let's move these over like that. Okay, so we're going to basically have a web version and then an iPhone version. So this is going to be a website. And what I'm going to do here is we're going to make a time clock. And this is something I need for work because I need some, we've kind of had loose time clock for some of our employees. So now I'm going to make an official time clock, and I'm going to make it myself, and we'll do it here. So I want a website that basically you could log in on a website. So if someone's sitting down the computer, they could turn their time clock on, show that they started working, clock it when they go to leave. Also, I want a mobile version as well of the same thing so that they can do it remotely, okay, from their phone. So let's go ahead and just play around with that. Like, I don't really know what I'm going to do here. We basically need a big button that's going to help them clock in, show when they last clocked in, and how many hours they have, and then be able to clock in or do like a lunch or a break or something. Okay, so let's just kind of play around, just see what we can come up with. So let's see, how do you make new objects here? So we've got path, texts. Okay. I mean, there's squares, there's circles, there's lines, there's text. There's not a lot in way of objects, I guess. But I mean, I guess you do a square. And let's do a circle. Let's start by just making a nice circle. Like that. That's pretty nice. I kind of like that. Move these up. Oh, that's nice. So it has spacing guides as well. So it's 84. Interesting. Okay, cool. So there's that. Truth be told, though, oh, here's where all of our symbols are kept. Okay, so this is symbols. This is this is layers. You can obviously, you got your different artboards here. You select it. This is very similar to kind of the way that you know, Sketch works. Very basic tools. You really just have the most basic of basic tools. If you really want to expand on this, you've got to go into Photoshop and probably create artwork and then move them in, because this is a pretty basic layout tool. That's going to be the biggest complaint that I'm going to say about it, is that, like, it's pretty basic. So anyway, so we got all that. That looks nice. And this is, of course, this is going to be pretty basic. I just want to show you guys what I'm doing. This may not be the final version of the app, but it looks pretty nice. So we've got all of this. Now let's go ahead. Let's just try copying this. So let's just duplicate this if we can. So we'll just kind of keep it like that maybe. Cool. So now what we can do is, if we move over to the prototype section, yeah, we know how this works. Okay, so we click this and we can, so now I think we click this and it will move us over here to this screen. We'll just dissolve it. And that should work. And then if we click this button, it's going to take us back to this screen. We'll dissolve, that'll be fine. Okay, so basically as we clock in, we should probably start with this screen. So we can click on this, let's make that home. So there's the home button. And now let's go ahead and click play, and we get our app. Just like that. We click clock in, and then it takes us over here. It shows our current time. We can take a lunch, take a break. We can clock out. When we clock out, then it moves us back over here, and it should be updating time, but you know, that's part of the actual application. So there we go. That's pretty basic. Let's now mess around at the menu maybe, and then call it a day. So let's go through and let's just make a menu here. Let's copy this. I guess we already have something copied, so let's paste it. So now when you click the menu, let's go back to prototype, click the menu. It's now going to push down, and it's going to head over to this screen. Oops, push down. And then same with this. Push down. And then theoretically, the back button also would go back to one of these screens. And in the app, you would know which one to go to. We don't really know which one it came from, so it'll just go back to a generic one. It'll push up, though. Okay, cool. So now let's try it. Play. So now if we click menu, it goes down. You have your options. You click up and it goes back. Cool. So that's pretty sweet. We actually now have the ability to do that. This is a pretty cool little app. I definitely want to do more with this application. We're going to have to play around and see what we can do. I am going to start using this in the next few series, I think. Just from my initial impressions here, I think it's really valuable. My key takeaways, if I want to give you guys some key takeaways from here, first of all, it's in beta. So that's one thing to really keep in mind. Adobe's still working with us, and they're looking for feedback on how to improve this, okay? So I think they've already got a lot coming here, and I think this is a really exciting application. So as far as what I can say about it now, it definitely doesn't, I haven't noticed any bugs. It seems to run very smooth. It doesn't seem to use a lot of computing power. It seems to run very efficiently. That's all really, really nice. The interface is super nice and clean. I would love to see more of this type of interface in some of the Photoshop and Illustrator applications, which tend to look clunky, and not outdated, but just not on the bleeding edge, not super modern. This has a really modern, crisp feel. This has one of the best feels of a Adobe application that I've ever seen. So they did a really good job with the look and feel of this. The simplicity, the ease of use of it's really, really nice. One thing they did that's really huge that I see here with Adobe XD that I don't notice with the other Adobe programs is they took advantage of something that's very, very popular right now, which is kind of the dynamic, I'm trying to think what they call them, but basically the dynamic menus. So, for example, when I click on something, when I click this item, for example, my toolbar adjusts to what's relevant for what I currently have selected. As I select different items like text, my toolbars on the right change. That's very common in software right now, and you don't see that in Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign. You always have the same toolbars, and different things basically become available or unavailable as you select things. A toolbox that might handle the text doesn't go away or come back as you work with text. It just kind of seems to fade out, like it's not available. It just kind of fades out, but it's still there, and you have all these toolbars. And I love the simplicity of just having one toolbar that kind of gives you all of your options. Unlike Photoshop, where you have to have all these little toolboxes everywhere, and you kind of have to, even if you're not using text, you still always have space for this text toolbox, which is kind of ghetto. So I do like that. I do feel like it's missing maybe just some features. It's definitely got a very basic editorial type of feel. That's the biggest complaint I'll say for it right now. It lacks some set of design features. What I think that they've really done well is the prototype stage. So when you move from design to prototype, I feel like this area is really well thought out. I think that this is really, really nice. The transitions are really, really good. The testing, the ability to share right from here, the ability to record your screen right from in there, all of that seems like it's really nice. I really, really like that aspect of this program. And you notice that there's kind of two things. You have that design side, the prototype side. I think they did a really good job with the prototype side. They did a really good job with the design side as well, what they have, but I think they are missing some tools. Maybe they're not, because I can't think of anything off the top of my head. But I mean, you basically have your design tools consist of a square tool, which can technically be a rounded rectangle as well, because you can round the corners. And then you've got an ellipse tool, you've got a line tool, you've got your general pen tool, and then your text tool. And that's basically it for creating content. Everything else is going to have to be made inside of Photoshop or some other tool and brought in, which I guess is okay. I don't know if this is necessarily the place to do like advanced designs, but it does feel like, I don't see any. I guess there are box shadows here, which is interesting. But you just feel like it's got a very basic, I don't know if it's missing anything like huge, but it definitely has a very basic baseline set of design tools. I do like I think that this is really nice. I really like how they've done artboards. I would love to see a layer palette or a layers toolbar similar to this in Photoshop. That would be really nice. I really like this. This is really, really well done. Again, the design of it looks really nice. Symbols I'll have to play around with more. I can't say much about symbols right now. But anyway, that's kind of my general impressions on this. I'm really excited about starting to use this a little bit more. I think this is something that I've only scratched the surface on, but I think it has a ton of potential, and I'm actually really excited to start using it. I love that Adobe is expanding their horizons. They're trying to build new applications like this, and I don't think it has a very steep learning curve. I was able to pick it up and figure it out really quick here on screen, and keep in mind, I've never used the program before. These were my only impressions after never touching it before. So you saw on screen my entire experience. I did fast forward some of it just because I was just moving things around, but everything you saw, even if I fast forwarded it, was my entire experience. I didn't cut anything out. Okay, so there's nothing missing here that I learned behind the scenes, and I was able to pick it up pretty quickly. So that's the biggest thing I'm going to say about that. I think they did really, really good job, and I'm really excited to see what comes out of this a little bit more. So I do have some more videos coming up where we start working on some new projects. And one of the things that's going to be really important that I want you guys to start focusing on is the design discovery process. This is something that I've been getting lots of emails about, people asking kind of my whole process. And I think it's something that I've skipped over in the past because we've worked on projects like the Laravel blog application. We've talked about doing the e-commerce series and stuff like that, which we will too once we get done with the Dev Marketer website. And I really want you guys to take a step and understand the value of this discovery phase. And I'm going to do some episodes on Dev Marketer Show where we talk more about what the discovery phase is. But I think that Adobe XD fits perfectly into that discovery phase. It It's really easy to kind of move things around and figure out how you like things. And it's so much easier to do it in a program like this, where I can just grab this menu button and try it on the left side, try it on the right side, try different animations here like we just tried there, and do different things like that. It's so much easier here than it is once you get into the code. And once you get in the code, it's going to be so easy to code something like this up. If I were just given this application, I could code this up really, really quickly. Whereas if I was starting from scratch, trying to code all this with scratch without anything to base my, that discovery or that creative aspect on, is difficult, okay? So really think about in your next few projects incorporating a discovery or a design phase like we're doing here, and incorporating Adobe XD into that. Now, if you don't use Adobe XD, you're gonna wanna use something like Sketch, or at the very least, something like Photoshop. You need something that's graphical, and I guess it doesn't even have to be Photoshop. You could use Keynote. I've actually used Keynote for general layouts before, Apple Keynote. I don't know, I'm sure there's similar programs on Windows. Like, it doesn't have to be a specific tool like Sketch. I know Sketch is $100. I'm pretty sure this is free right now while it's in beta. So if you guys want to check this out, this is an Adobe program that I'm pretty sure is free right now because it's currently in beta. So this would be a free option that you could check out right now. Of course, Photoshop is not free, but it's another option. So anyway, it's really important you do incorporate this with, into your projects. And as you start working with your clients and with your employers, I think they're really going to see the value of you being able to mock and create these designs up through Adobe XD or something similar, and incorporate that into your workflow so that they know what you're working on, and then you can iron out all the kinks, all the things they don't like, you can iron out here in the graphical interface where it's super easy to make changes, so that when you go to code, you can just focus on the code and focus on writing code that's efficient and well organized, okay? The worst thing is when you start adding features after you've already coded something and it just starts creating spaghetti code and messing up your code base. Whereas if you can iron all those problems out during the discovery phase or the creative phase like we are here, then when you go to the code, you have all the entire application in your mind, built up, ready to go, and you just need to actually implement the code now, okay? So anyway, I really am excited about what Adobe XD has to offer. This was just a first preview. These are my first impressions. If you are new to the channel, welcome to the Dev Marketer channel, I should say. We are a channel focused on business, marketing, and code, web development, all that kind of stuff. We're helping you build and grow your next great idea. So you might want to check out some more videos, subscribe if they interest you. And for all those of you guys following along, we've got some more great stuff coming up. We're going to keep working on Vue. This project will be built in Vue.js coming up very soon. Also, I am going to start a new series tomorrow where we rebuild the Dev Marketer website. That's something I've needed to do for so long, and we're finally just going to do it so that we can move on to bigger and better things. Okay, so that's what's coming up, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I hope you guys enjoyed this first preview of Adobe XD. Let me know what you guys think. Are you guys using Adobe XD? Are you using Sketch? Let me know if you made it to the end of the video and watched the whole thing. And until next time, I will see you guys in the next video.